Well, we kind of have an extended Faces of Faith segment for you this morning, and part of it has to do with the story we've been watching this weekend, the story of two Muslims who were taken off a plane in Memphis, not really giving a good reason why. Take a look here at the men I'm talking about. One is Imam Rahman, the other is Imam Sagul. They're being greeted here by their attorney. This was Friday night, but hours after their originally scheduled arrival in Charlotte, North Carolina. Both men were taken off their initial flight, apparently by the order of the pilot.
Pilot made an announcement that I have to take back the plane to the gate, and he came to the gate. After that, Delta agent and some TSA agent came to us, and he said, sir, we have to check you again. They are very polite. They were very helpful, and we helped them. And we let them check our stuff and our luggage, our bag, our body, everything they did in few minutes. After then they said, okay, you guys are good, you can go. When we are entering to the plane, their supervisor, Mr. Russell, he said, Mr. Rahman, sorry, I was pleading to the pilot to let you go with this in this flight, but he is not allowing you to go. I said, can you say the reason? What is the reason? So he said, okay, I'm asking him the reason, but he's not giving any reason. I can ask him again. So he went to him again, and he was, arguing with him maybe more than 10 minutes. He came back again. He said, I'm sorry. He's not allowing you, and he's not giving me any reason.
Now, it turns out, would you believe, the Imams were actually headed to Charlotte for a conference that focused on Islamophobia. Now, here's what the airline, Atlantic Southeast Airlines, had to say. Quote, we take security and safety very seriously, and the event is currently under investigation. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused. We'll continue in our Faces of Faith this morning talking about that story, and also this week the killing of Osama bin Laden. Certainly resonated around the world, but also how do these types of stories resonate for the U.S. Muslim community? Maria Ibrahim is CNN's executive editorial producer, as also an American Muslim. We work with her very closely here at CNN. She co-edited a new book called I Speak for Myself, American Women on Being Muslim. Maria, it is good to have you in here with us. Let's start with these two situations, these two stories. Just your reaction there, and what has the reaction been when you see a story like that where these two Muslim men pulled off a plane inexplicably? Maybe we'll get some more answers, but we have seen these types of stories before.
We absolutely have, and every time a story like this comes up, it's very troubling to me as an American Muslim, but also as a journalist, because part of what we do is tell stories about other people, and we tell stories about what we hope would be, a culture of civility in our country. And I think what this shows us is that there's still a great amount of fear in America about my religion in particular, and I think it also speaks to this concept of what I call otherness epidemic. We always want to have this other person that we're looking to stereotype or to alleviate the fears that we have. So we look to American Muslims as that.
I want to ask as well. You brought this up. I was going to ask about it later, but you mentioned, you said your religion. And yes, if someone saw you getting on an airplane right now, dressed the way you're dressed, they might not look or think twice about it. What is the difference, though? And even if they heard you say you were Muslim, they might not think much. But why do you think there's a different type of fear when they see a Muslim man or Muslim woman dressed in the traditional garb?
Yeah, it's, I think one of the things that I think is really important to note for the American audience is that, Islam is a religion that is internal as well as external. And how we interpret our faith is very different across this country. And I think, the stereotyping occurs because of the garb, because of how someone looks. I have family members who wear full beards, who wear hijab. And some of them have been stereotyped against and others haven't. I think what we need to do in our country is really look very critically about the actions that people are undertaking rather than what they look like on the outside.
All right, Mario, one other thing. We saw the world reaction, American reaction to the killing of Osama bin Laden. Was the Muslim American reaction any different to the reaction any other American would have had to that?
Oh, absolutely not. I think the American Muslim community reaction was exactly the same as any American's reaction. We were all very happy and relieved that this man who has killed thousands of people is gone. But that doesn't mean that we're any less concerned that other people can take the mantle, and we still need to remain vigilant.
All right, Maria, we want to talk about the book now. It's called I Speak for Myself, in which you got perspective of 40 women about what it means to be Muslim in America. You talked to a couple. We're going to take a quick listen. I'll ask you about it on the other side.
I am Jamila Medina. Muslim women are not only misrepresented, but they're not really represented in mainstream media. If I could describe Jamila Medina accurately, I would say she is pensive, compassionate, driven, inquisitive, and caring.
I'm Amira Shawaki. If you want people to know what Islam is really about, then you need to live as an example of your faith. And you need to be willing to tell someone what you're doing during Ramadan and why you pray 5 times a day, and that Allah does not mean some foreign God. It is the same God. And be willing to go out on a limb and explain yourself and define yourself, because if you don't, they will.
I am Aya Ibrahim. The time I felt the proudest as an American was the first time I walked into a polling station and was able to vote for my president. I define myself as a daughter, as a sister, as a researcher, as an educator, and as an activist.
I am Maytha Al-Hassan. I think there's a misconception of who Muslim women are, and I think that stems from seeing us as a monolith. I admire Malcolm X's commitment to the truth, for his sincerity. One thing that most people don't know about me is that I'm pretty introverted.
I speak for myself.
I speak for myself.
I speak for myself.
I speak for myself.
And again, I'm joined again by Maria, who works here with us at CNN, but was is the co-editor of that book. What can we get from this? Can this help us along, quite frankly, because still that intolerance and, frankly, ignorance still exists?
Absolutely. I think Americans can get from this book what you would get from talking to your next-door neighbor, right? A sense of appreciation about our backgrounds, our history, our culture, but also the idea that all of us are just like you and me. I was born and raised in this country. My parents are refugees from another land, but I grew up really learning to appreciate the values that we have here in America, and I believe that my Islam and my religion actually don't contradict my American patriotism either.
Okay, Maria, I want to have you back, because I would love to continue to chat with you about this book and about so many other things. So hopefully you'll be willing to come back here with us, but we're going to go now. Maria,
thank you.
We appreciate that. The book is called I Speak for Myself, co-editor right here, one of our own. We're very proud of her. So there it is, I Speak for Myself. And if you want to learn more about your faith, about faith in general, other faiths, you can go to CNN's Belief blog, cnn.com/belief.